If you hear the train I'm on, then you'll know how far I've gone. You will know that I have gone 100 miles. 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles. You can hear that whistle blow 100 miles. Hey, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. I haven't seen Nikki in here in a while. That's awesome. Hey, Harper, Nikki, Aurora. It's also been a long time since I've seen you in here. Man, I was worried you hated me. Oh shit, it's the void. I hope you're keeping warm, baby. I mean, I'm not exactly keeping warm out here in the outside of the like the outside fucking office trailer or whatever, but you know. The house itself has gas heat, so once I go back inside, it'll be fine. Even if I have to sleep in the living room. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully my room will stay relatively warm. We'll see, though. Howdy, Margot. Did you lose power? Look at the title. I did. I did indeed. Someone is streaming the Portland protests when I scrolled off you for a second. It's popping out there. Nice. Any idea when it comes back on? I'm gonna be real with you, girl. I don't know. I have no fucking clue. And I live in the deep south where snow infrastructure is not exactly known for being widely distributed. Not only that, but you know, not every part of the power, like the power grid I'm on is part of a cooperative, and as a result, they're a little bit more responsive. But not every part of the grid in my area is supported by that co-op, and the parts that aren't are much more relaxed about the rate at which they respond to emergency losses of power. I'll take a dab to this. Yeah, go ahead. Johanna the centrist. Johanna the centrist. What a name. Honestly, if you're a centrist in 2026, you're basically like a leftist domestic terrorist at this point. You're to the left of Trump, so I hope you know that. What state you in? South Carolina is still good. I'm in Mississippi. Mississippi's getting hit hella hard. You centrist. I'll be honest with you, Nikki. As time goes by, I'm of two minds about it, right? On the one hand, centrists and shitlibs are kind of responsible on some level for the condition that we're in. But on the other hand, is it really them, the voters, or is it the politicians? Ultimately, it's not Republican and Democratic voters who are responsible for the bad actions of our party. I mean, there's a whole like framework of coercive machinery that keeps people voting for these two parties against their best interests and against their better judgment. So I find it hard to, like, if you're going to blame every Republican voter or every centrist voter for the failures of the Democrats or the Republicans, I feel like you've got to blame everybody who's ever voted for a Democrat for the failures of the Democrats. And it's like, I think the voters have some responsibility there, but it really is it's a difficult thing for me to parse out. What even is a centrist anymore? I don't know. You're very stoned? Well, good, Ben. You need to be with what all is going on. Oh, well, socialism. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Oh, well, socialism. I don't know. That's funny. I don't know what Johanna's political position is, but I like her. She's got a good sense of humor. How long have you been trans? Since March of 2020. Almost 6 years now. Oh, damn, Phoebe. Sorry about the lights. Yeah. I farted really hard, and it disabled power in the surrounding 5 counties. So they're working on getting it back up, but it'll take a while. I blame neoliberals, but most of them are in the system and in the establishment, so I think they're detached from the broader voter base. Yeah, I mean, it's really a hard thing to parse, right, Husky? Because on the one hand, we know, on the first thing, right? Well, that was a sound. Anyway, on the first thing, we know for a fact that there are tons and tons of bought and paid for politicians on both sides of the aisle, right? Number two, we know that the voters do have some say in who does and does not get elected, obviously. We've got a limited amount of say in that. And we also know that there are a lot of people who are checked out of the system. So how many people that are checked into the system still are people with a vested interest in the system, right? I would be willing to bet you that most of the people at this point who vote in America, now granted, 2024 had our highest turnout in years. I didn't know that. I was actually operating, I still think it's a good talking point, but I was arguing and talking for a while like it was a bad year for turnout. But as it turns out, I looked into it more, and 2024 was actually a great year for turnout. But even on a great year for turnout like 2024, you still get a third of the country, over a third of the country, that cannot be compelled to vote. We can argue all day about why that is, but in my opinion, if you want my theory, it's because neither of the two major parties are actually calling to them with anything that would, like, none of them are speaking to their interests, right? And as a result, they aren't politically involved. I would be willing to bet that a ton of people that are voting now are people who are directly influenced in some way by presidential policy. But in reality, everyone is influenced by presidential policy. It's just that some people have more removal from those effects. I don't know. It's a very esoteric topic. For a good minute, I thought the live didn't load. Then I saw the reflection, and that scared the shit out of me for a second. Yeah, I'm my power. My house has lost power, along with thousands of other people in the Deep South. Please keep an eye out for us. Like, stay updated. Fucking subscribe to my channel and keep an eye out for me, man. Because hopefully I won't freeze to death. But yeah, that's why you guys are sitting in the dark. Stay warm. I will try. I'll try my best. I'm okay. Yeah. I'm all right enough for now. As long as, as long as no trees fall on my house and no ice creates any more hazards than it's already created, we should be okay. I mean, ultimately, big weather events like this, I have to be honest with you guys, even when I'm going through them and going through the ill effects of them, there is a part of me that can't help but be, like, relieved when they come, because it almost feels like once you start going through the bad weather event, it's like, okay, all right, once I get through this, it's over, and there's not going to be another one for another couple of years, or there's not going to be another one for a couple of months, or depending on the severity of it, right? It's almost, and not only that, but I have a great well of respect for the sheer power of nature, so it's easy for me to like disconnect myself and be like, damn, life kind of sucks right now because of this, but it's also kind of crazy to think about how easily the machinery of our civilization can be shut down at nature's whim. Thank you guys for watching the stream. If you've been enjoying it so far, please hit that like button. I really appreciate it. Any Xanderhall fans? I'm a Vosh fan. I don't know about Xanderhall. Vosh is weird now, sadly. Well, when I say I'm a Vosh fan, what I really mean is that I, watch him for agreement's sake about 50% of the time and watch him to mauled about the other 50% of the time. But that still makes me a fan. And I'm a big enough person to admit that. But no, if I'm going to get Vosh's takes, I'll get them right from Vosh, not from one of his weird little tulpa dolls. Think about how many people DGG has generated. I just want you guys to think about that. Destiny spawned Vosh, who spawned fucking Xanderhall. Who knows what YouTuber Xanderhall has spawned? Probably, what is Demon Mama a spawn of Xanderhall's community? Ben Jacobs with the $2. Thank you so much. I do not like the Voosh. Paul Zigo's is better. Paul Zigo is better. That's 100% true. Although I gotta tell you, man, I'm not pissed at Paul, but I'm disappointed in Paul. Not for any of the stupid reasons the haters bring up, but because I feel like Paul has forgotten his roots. He was talking on the Bleakest Banter Sode today about not having the language to talk about the political machinations of modern day America and not feeling like he can say what he wants to say. And it's like, well, to some degree, just being a leftist endangers you. And if that's the case, well, I'm sorry, Paul, but you've been a leftist for a long time. If they're going to come for you, you've said enough stuff to justify it at this point. Trust me. Just say what you want. You can't openly fucking talk for insurrection, but you're a labor leftist. I just wish I could tell him this directly, He's a labor leftist, and what we need right now is his solution. What we need right now is thousands of people in the streets peacefully defying these evil fascist thugs, because that picture of that speaks louder than any brick you can throw, any bullet you can shoot, any direct action you could take. The image of that speaks across party lines, across time and space, and creates change. Thank you for the $2. Power, because there is a massive ice storm affecting the deep south and the Midwest. Ice Storm Fern, I believe. Ben Jacobs with another $5. I appreciate it so much. If anybody else would like to support the stream, my power is out, and I appreciate it just a little bit extra tonight. Like it just, like, it's an extra sign of solidarity, if anything. So I appreciate it a ton. Thank you so much, Ben Jacobs. A couple folks have gotten the best of Paul in debate lately, but I still more or less align with him 99 times out of 100, apart from fucking Ukraine. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with me and Paul, too. Me and Paul disagree on Ukraine, not that substantively. Ultimately, we don't disagree that much, but the difference between me and Paul is that I refuse to believe anyone is going to use nukes besides the American government. I think the U.S. government might use nukes, but nobody else is going to use fucking nukes. So I think that we should have just fucking gone in with U.S. military action directly and drawn a hard line and made Putin be like, okay, like, fuck it. If you're going to cause World War III, I guess you can if you want to, but you should really just let Ukraine become a part of NATO, and that would end all of this. Like, I think that I think we should have pursued genuine good faith negotiation first. I don't think that was tried. I still don't know if that's been actually tried, because I think Trump is a sycophant to Russia, and I think that Biden was a sycophant to Ukraine. I think you need someone who doesn't give a fuck about either territory. We need an indigenous Australian to litigate the fucking Ukraine-Russia crisis. I'm not kidding. We need an indigenous Australian, like someone who's been living like a traditional Aboriginal life down there. We need an Aborigine. We need to find like somebody from like an Aboriginal or like some Polynesian that's been living a traditional life that knows enough about politics to know what Russia and Ukraine are, but hasn't been following this conflict enough to like doesn't get regular news. We need somebody that's like an unbiased third party, and you're not going to find that in the West. But what I would say, Ben Jacobs, is that yeah, like a couple of people managed to get Paul in debates. By the way, thank you so much for $5. I always appreciate it. But yeah, I would say a couple of people have managed to get Paul in debate for sure lately. Like it's hard for me to necessarily think of an example though, really, to think about it. Like I don't think Alchemist Oil got the better hand in his debate, but then again, I was heavily biased in that whole exchange. I think that Alchemist Oil is a piece of shit, I think that Alchemist Oil is a piece of shit, and I think that Paul is super funny. So I think that Paul probably came out looking like more unhinged in that debate, but whether or not you think that means he lost entirely depends on your perception. It's one of those things where the winner is not delineated harshly by appearances. But in some of his arguments with like TJ or some of his arguments with chat and stuff like that, I don't know that he's made the best argument. And frankly, I don't think he made the best arguments in the dress course. I never did make a video responding to that, but like that's a failing on my part. I really should have, because it would have been a good opportunity for us to do some cross-promotional content. But I don't think that there is any fucking thing wrong with the scenario Paul described of a little boy wearing a dress and a person who may have been his. We don't know if this was a dad wearing a dress or a trans woman that doesn't pass very well. We don't know. Paul said that she had a beard, but fucking he lives in Washington. That doesn't mean a goddamn thing. And frankly, unless he saw their genitals, I don't know how much judgment we can really pass on this family. But I never got to make any of these arguments with him. I certainly didn't have the character limit to make them. I had to choose which ones I thought would be the most effective in that instance. And he pretty much just dismissed them by being like, well, that's a bad metaphor. It's like, I mean, you could say it's a bad metaphor, but I'm not compelled by that argument. I think it is a good metaphor. I don't know if he lost, more like made himself look uncouth. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I get that. One time, Paul kind of said Russians and Ukrainians were the same. He probably didn't mean to, but I almost facepalmed so hard I crashed my car. Oh, dude, that's crazy. Okay, so listen. Paul has some boomer takes, and that's okay, man. Everybody's got a boomer take every so often. It's totally fine. It's totally chill. But one of Paul's boomer takes, like honestly, a lot of his boomer takes have to do with foreign policy. I said that on one of the fucking subs the other day. I was like, yes, I know. Paul's become a boomer when it comes to foreign policy. You got anything else? Because it's like, whatever, just because Paul's wrong on fucking this, that, or the other thing doesn't mean he's wrong on every goddamn thing. He's still right about labor leftism. He's still right about the class struggle. He's still right about contact theory, etc., etc. Just because he happens to be flatly wrong about the idea that taking Greenland by force would be a good thing doesn't mean he's wrong about every other goddamn thing he says. I, for one, thought Paul was ahead of the curve on the whole Ukraine thing when the war started years ago. I mean, I don't totally disagree with Paul. I don't think it's a war that even needed to happen. I think the good faith diplomacy was never tried. Because I think that, like I said earlier, dude, I think we need some kind of aborigine to fucking decide this shit or something. We need somebody who's not involved in the direct process, who's not going to favor Ukraine or Russia to dictate how this happens, because otherwise we're just going to end up in this forever permanent stalemate between these two different groups of people that are vying for control over the same patch of land. We need a non-biased third party who'll be like, okay, so you are going to get this section of the Donbass, and Ukraine is not only going to preserve the integrity of the rest of its territory, but is going to join NATO. I think that that deal could have been arranged. I believe that that deal has never been offered. All you people can't handle cold, and it shows you can stay warm without excess power. That's a really horribly cruel thing to say. So the reason why people don't know how to handle cold in the deep south is because until recent years, deep cold hasn't really been much of a problem in the deep south. Ice storms and snowstorms didn't become a regular feature of our winter until circa 2020, 2021, and they really have like not become bog standard yet. There's been at least one season where we haven't had any significant snow or ice activity, but it has become a more regular thing. The reason why people aren't familiar with it is because it's really been in the last 10 years that it's even become a thing. For 150 years of tons of people living in the deep south before that, snow was like such a fucking occasional thing. And yeah, people had some little, you know, what would you call it? Old wives' tales to basically keep you cold or I'm sorry, keep you warm when it's really cold. But that's all they had, right? And whenever these big freezes would happen, and the reason why this has remained the same, hasn't changed, is because, like I said, I'll say it again, shit has changed in the last 10 years. The culture has not caught up with it. And not only that, but when you live in an area that doesn't have regular cold, when you live in an area where the winters are very mild, except like every other year or every 5 years, but like think about it. For somebody who's been living here 60 years, it's only been in the last 10 years of their life that it's like every year they got to worry at least once a year about a deep freeze, breaking pipes and busting shit and making tree limbs fall and everything, and cutting out power. It's only been in the last little while. So people are not accustomed to that. Infrastructurally, we are not set up for that. They're not used to it because they're not exposed to it. I don't think it justifies the shooting, but he was reposting a bunch of kill ice TikToks. I mean, yeah, it doesn't justify the shooting. It just doesn't justify the shooting. Like, whatever. Like, I don't care if he was literally fucking Osama bin Laden. A use of force fucking procedure would tell you once you've restrained the suspect and removed the weapon from their possession, you can then begin to de-escalate using continually less lethal methods to restrain and control the suspect. This is basically, by the way, pretty much pulled directly out of police training. Ask me how I know. Don't pull guns on law enforcement, LOL. He didn't pull a gun. He never pulled a gun. All he had in his hand was a fucking cell phone. That's what the video shows. It's like that line from 1984, dude. Then the party told you to deny the evidence of your eyes and ears. Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe your lying ears. Has the body cam been shown yet? No, but I don't think the body cam's gonna show. I've noticed a tactic that a lot of these ICE people are using. I don't know if it's actually a tactic or if it's just something that appears to be a tactic, but I've noticed whenever they want to like abuse the fuck out of somebody and take them into custody and steal their shit and fucking secret them away, they will gather 4 or 5 officers thick around a suspect, and they will all be doing different things that are designed to look kind of like they're restraining them. But I'm sorry, I worked in a prison. I know for a fact that that's not the most efficient way to restrain a human being. It is a way for them to obscure what is actually going on inside that huddle. It's gang tactics. It's literal gang tactics. It's the type of shit that the mafia used to do when they would beat up somebody who's fucking turned state's witness, or who's about to snitch, or so somebody who's not paid up recently. It's literally that type of thing that like the mafia would do. It's literal mob tactics, and a third of the country doesn't give a shit because they voted for the guy who's authorizing it, and they love the fact that lefties are the ones getting hurt right now, and they don't really give a shit because it's not their fucking family. In fact, their fucking family are the ones probably out there getting those ICE checks to go round up brown people and kill white Americans trying to protect their fellow human beings from danger. You're a joke. Nothing says I'm a joke like being told that by a moron who can't even figure out the correct usage of the word you're. More views and angles have come out with videos. Literally every view and angle you can see of this shows that he did not fucking have his hand on his gun. He did not have his hand anywhere near his gun, and he was disarmed before the shots were fired. I'm sorry. You are not going to gaslight me on this. You're not going to gaslight anybody on this. What exactly is a third of the country? MAGA. Like Trump people. People that are still in favor of ICE and Republican policy at this date and time. Around a third of the country. No, this is just a Google search away for everyone, but that 50,000 signing bonus for ICE was only ever for ex-federal employees. So, what point you're trying to make there? By the way, if you've been watching for 27 minutes, please hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. You guys can help push this stream out to more people. I'm not going to be able to stay on here too long tonight. I'll probably stay on here another 10 or 20 minutes, but I don't want to fucking completely kill my battery because I'm going to need to recharge it with a little charging block in the house, and I need to preserve my battery as much as I can because I don't know how long the power will be out. Please donate if you've got a little bit of extra spare change burning a hole in your pocket. I do appreciate it. This is an audience-funded channel, and we've not made a whole lot this month, so you guys can help us make up for that destitution. Try more than half the country, baby boy. Justin Cronin, don't you ever fucking call me a baby boy again, you little fucking pussy faggot. You will be shit banned out of here so fucking fast that it'll make your ancestors' heads spin. All right, now that we've established that basic line of respect, okay, you and your cohorts make up less than a third of the country. This is based both on votes and on the president's current approval rating, which last time I checked was around 31%, which is about as low as Biden ever got, by the way. Approval rating doesn't mean a percentage of people. Yes, it does. What do you think the approval rating means? The Ayatollah has a higher approval rate. Okay, well, you can't fucking... Yeah, but bad example, okay? Who the fuck knows what the Ayatollah's approval rating is? They're not letting you get accurate numbers. Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky is a good read. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Read Rules for Radicals. Read Rules for Radicals. Most of these lefty debate bros follow the same tired trope from the 70s. Phoebe not so much, but they love the Kool-Aid. Ha. Yes. Wait. Okay, so hold on. Are you saying that I'm a good example of someone who follows the rules for radicals, or a good example of someone who bucks them and is going my own way? Or, like, what is the connection to the book to the thing you said in the second part. I'm liking the compliment. Trust me, I love the ego stroke. Big fan, but I need to know more details. Sorry, guys. Crusty girl vibes. Get you a crusty girlfriend. Dude, who the fuck is out here shooting at snow o'clock? Is there some reason somebody's out traipsing around with a gun at 2 in the morning on a fucking icy Sunday? I got it. Sometimes I fucking hate living in the country, dude. You just hear some shit. It is fucking 1 in the morning on a damn fucking night, literally downright frozen goddamn night. Freezing rain coming down actively. Who the fuck is traipsing around with a rifle right now? I'm not saying they don't have any right to. I'm not freaking out about the idea of my safety. None of that. I'm literally just worried about their fucking health. You're going to get pneumonia. Go back inside. I think you're an example. Of someone who doesn't follow the low IQ debate tactics and rules for radicals. Most lefty debate bros do, and it is so transparent. Well, I would have to imagine that based on my limited experience with lefty debate bro kind of culture, it seems to me like a lot of them are college students and people that well, not even college students, but college graduates, right? And my understanding is that Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals is a widely recommended book in a lot of like political major, like politics related classes and history related classes and shit like that. My understanding is that it's a pretty widely recommended book by certain types of classes. And I would imagine that would explain why it's got such an overwhelming presence. Not only that, but it's a book that you'll hear a lot of lefties reference. And the funny thing is, it's not really supposed to be applied in debate. At least I don't think so. I mean, I've read some excerpts from Rules for Radicals. I've seen it gone over in an episode of Deep Fat Fried one time. Excuse me. But my understanding is that it was actually meant to be used for like infiltrating right-wing groups and active like on the street protest action and that kind of thing. Like, I don't get the impression from what I've read about it that it's meant to be used as an outline for individual debate. But now I really do want to read it, actually, just to see, you know? I just hope that I don't let any of those rub off on me. I will tell you this much. I watch Vosh and some other debate bros specifically so I can keep up on what they're saying, know when to talk shit, and know how to not be like them. Although I do cop their rhetoric when it suits me. There are 2 YouTubers that I allow myself to emulate sometimes, you know, but whatever. I think that they're unique and bring an interesting perspective to the conversation that is not repeated by these fucking debate bros that you don't really see featured in them, which is probably why the appearances they've had with debate bros have been so interesting. $2 from Ben Jacobs. Thank you so much. I always appreciate it. You know that. I get that he's smart, but OMG, Vush is so annoying. Well, I find him both annoying. I find him annoying, pretentious, and incredibly intelligent. Vosh is a really good dude to listen to if you like getting an idea for the different angles that you can approach a debate from. I don't know that I would use his tactics, but I do think that there is some of his rhetoric that I would readily employ. Does that make sense? I don't know that I'm making a ton of sense right now. You're a good rhetorician. Shout out. Well, thank you, Captain Tunnel. I appreciate that a ton. What about Dead Domain? Not familiar, unfortunately. How can I make money protesting? As far as I know, you can't. How do you get paid to protest? Fucking you let me know when you find out, dog. Honestly, like, I guess you could get paid to protest if you made a channel that was all about attending different protests and people were donating to you to, like, keep you on the road. Maybe that'll be the next evolution of my channel. Look up Vosh's special folder he showed on live. Yes, I'm familiar with the fact that he watches Lolly Horseporn. I'm familiar. I don't watch I don't watch Vosh because he's, like a good, valuable source of like sexual ethics. I don't watch Vosh for his takes on Lolly Horseporn. I watch him to get some ideas about how you might approach someone if you were debating like a hardcore Nazi or somebody that's like a Nazbol or something like that, you know? Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. I agree. Yeah, it was a citizen. ICE literally murdered a citizen today. Don't be justifying it. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Is everyone else's screen black? Yeah. My power is off. Where am I? I'm in Mississippi. So I am literally part of thousands of people in my state, and I have to imagine thousands more across the South, probably 1 million people or more. There's probably tens of millions of people right now that are without power. The South's infrastructure is just not designed for ICE, frankly. Now, like, people would say, well, no places. But yeah, actually, some places are. Like, there are way less. It's one of those things that I noticed when I was living in the Northeast. There are way more buried power lines in certain places, like the Northeast. There are way more buried power lines. And it's not something you really notice until you go to a place that's got a ton of buried power lines and you're used to like surface lines, right? That like go through the sky on these poles. I got power. Well, I don't. Texas, baby. Yeah. Well, you guys had a deep freeze a few years ago, but I guess it's our turn now. Probably just didn't pay the bill. No, you can look it up. Mississippi is currently undergoing a whole slew of power outages. You can literally just go look it up. Have your opinions, but no spam in chat. Yeah, no spam in chat. And hit the fucking like button if you've been enjoying the stream. And if you've been watching for this long, you probably do enjoy it. Admit it to yourself. Go ahead and hit that button. It really does help. And it sends the stream out to even more people, which not only increases the amount of people watching, which increases the amount of pleasure that you get from watching by increasing the number of people who can engage in my chat, but it's also just good for my ego and good for my wallet. So please do it. Help me out here. Come on now. I'm like a Nord from Skyrim. Sometimes I wish I unironically could be a Nord from Skyrim, because dude, there is something not even because of like any of the weird shit, just like the cold thing, right? The cold resistance is the coolest thing about the Nords in Skyrim. And I have always thought that there is something so incredibly, tell me if I'm wrong, right? But I've always got the impression, walking around in Skyrim, that no matter how cold the outside might be, those buildings are warm. Those buildings are cozy in a way. The best thing about that ICE vehicle break-in is that the gal live streaming the docs paperwork on Twitch was standing in the bed of the truck next to Ilhan Omar on January 10th. Ilhan is oddly close to this shit. ICE vehicle break-in, gal live streaming that docs paperwork on Twitch was standing in the bed of the truck. Omar on the 10th. I mean, I don't think that means Ilhan Omar had anything to do with it. Like, you're seeing like real life direct action being performed by people on the left because they're sick and tired of our country being taken over by a fascist government. Now we can argue all day long about whether or not you actually think the government consists of a fascist government, but I think that while we've always had fascist tendencies, we have now become a state that is actively at war with its own people. And at this point, different tactics are needed. That's pretty much all I can say directly, but You get the idea. Define fascism. Well, there's not like one strict, like hardcore dictionary definition that you're going to look up and it's going to be perfectly accurate every time. The one I usually go for is Mussolini's definition, which is the merger of state and corporate power. Because if you think about it, all of the things that starts to include in are inclusive of all the things that you would find in a definition for fascism. So, isolationist or hawkish foreign policy, isolationist and then hawkish foreign policy, right? You've got massive control of the media by the state. You've got repression of the people's right to gather and assemble and express themselves. All of these things naturally, they're all a natural outgrowth of corporate and state power merging. I mean, yeah, like there is a definition you'll find, but it's mostly a self-referential definition. It's not actually like what, like there's no cogency to the definition of fascism because there's no cogency to fascism. It's less hardcore, well thought out ideology with deep thinkers and shit like that, and more a loose collection of brainworms meant to distract people from like what's actually there and what's actually important. Vanilla Ice memes, lol, sharing a brain cell. The only thing people should be upset with ICE is about them not doing enough enforcement. Mario SG, what, like, literally, what would you be like? This is why I say that America's undergoing a Nazi takeover. If you ever wondered, how did people in Nazi Germany allow it to happen? Well, look at your fellow man. Look at the third of Americans who are like, yeah, go Trump, as ICE is literally going door to door in Minnesota looking for brown people to lock up under the auspices of their immigration possibly being in question. Look at them defending memos from people like Stephen Miller or whoever it was, Todd Holman, I forget who it was, that told ICE not to be looking for the criminals and drug dealers and the people who are going to put up a fight. Look for the families and children. Look for the fucking people, the day laborers at what is that place called? I keep wanting to call it Harbor Freight. That's not what it's called. Home Depot. Go fucking lock up day laborers and families because they're not going to put up a fight. Literally standing up for that shit, standing up for door-to-door policing against the Fourth Amendment, because I guess we just don't have a Fourth Amendment anymore. Despite the fact that the Fourth Amendment is not a protection for U.S. citizens, it is a protection for human beings within the territory of the United States. People that are not supposed to be here should leave. Why? I'm so upset from today's events. Use that anger. You should be. You should be angry. Use that anger. Use that anger. I'm begging you. Take that anger to the streets. Take that anger to your fucking state senators. Take that anger to the voting box. Take that anger all the way with you through the rest of 2026. ICE has dropped more people in Minnesota this year than any other source combined. ICE has been responsible for 66% of the homicides in Minnesota so far this year. I will repeat that again for the people in the back. ICE has been responsible for 66% of the homicides in Minnesota so far this year. A federal agency. If you defend that, you are a Nazi. You are a pig. If you defend that, I'm sorry. Like, I just can't, like, whatever. We might disagree on immigration enforcement and how that should be done, but if you are okay with that, you're a Nazi. Like, you have to at least agree with me. Yeah, that was a fucked up use of force. Probably not justified. Pretty bad look. If we can at least agree on that, brother, sister, non-binary siblings, we can be friends. We can have arguments about anything. And ultimately, we can do that if you're a Nazi too. But I have to tell you that you are one if you're not willing to agree with me that Renee Good's shooting was unjustified. Or was at the very least questionably unjustified. We downright cannot proceed forward without me calling you a Nazi if you think that the shooting that transpired today was justified. Because it flatly wasn't. We know for a fact that he was disarmed before the officers started firing on him. It's starting to affect my mental health. I'm horrified by some of the lives I've come across, and people are cheering for death and laughing. You have to understand how much money and effort and hate is being directed towards this, okay, Giorgio? You have to understand, not only is there a ton of money out of these right-wing billionaires and the people that they fund and the funding institutions that they distribute money through, not only is there a ton of just paid trolling out there, but there's also a massive, massive amount of discontent in this country that is being fueled towards hatefulness, hatred, just anger and vitriol, utter, desperate anger and vitriol. People are stark raving mad. And a lot of people would tell you they're too stupid to understand why. I don't think they're too stupid. I think they're not informed properly. And I don't think anybody is trying to inform them properly. So, I'll give you two pieces of advice. Number one is some practical advice on how you can move forward and feel like you're affecting change. And that is to start trying to tell people that what is really causing the problems in their life has nothing to do with immigrants, has nothing to do with whatever group they're hateful towards. It's all down to greed. No war but the class war. By keeping up that pressure, we can start to coalesce into a nationwide movement, not just against ICE and against federal intrusion into our cities and into our lives, but for an agenda of affordability, policies that will actually transform this country in a positive direction. This can be a massive fucking movement, but people need to understand the most hateful people, the people who are currently not just not on the side of the protesters, but actively laughing at their being killed. People like that in their audiences, people like that and people sympathetic to them, as many of them as can be made to, need to be made to understand that this is a class war, ultimately, that we are seeing the outgrowth of. No father figure detected? No fucking mama detected, because your mama didn't evidently raise you right. Here it comes. I know, right? Here it comes. How are they hateful? No one is laughing at the deaths on the right. They are all concerned. Some people definitely are. I don't think as many people are as Giorgio thinks. I think, Giorgio, I'll be honest with you. You need to and that was the other part of advice I was going to give to you, Giorgio. The other thing I was going to tell you, George, is you need to unplug, man. Okay, no humanity. I just never imagined a world like this. It feels no end in sight. I really appreciate your help and advice. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, like, I'm not saying have no humanity. I'm saying have the humanity to realize that people are ultimately lashing out at a system that has destroyed their lives in a way that is not actually conducive to improving it. And the longer it's allowed to continue like this unaddressed, the worse things are going to get. and the harder, the worse conditions will be, etc. But the other thing I was going to tell you is unplug for a while. Genuinely. Probably the reason why you're seeing things like that is because YouTube has figured out just how to rage bait you perfectly. It's also fed you some stuff that you like, clearly, like me, but it also is feeding you tons of stuff that you don't like. Just like, look at these people who disagree with me and hate me, right? All those people are getting rage baited by YouTube. They say I rage bait them. No, I just make content. YouTube is the one who decides to show it to people who are going to get pissed off at it because they know that you're going to interact with it. YouTube is the one rage baiting you. It's just the truth of it, But the fact of it is, you can control that or kind of interfere in its effect in your life by literally just unplugging, even if it's just for fucking a day. And by unplugging, you don't have to unplug completely. You could say, okay, I am not going to check social media today at all. I'm not going to look at the news today at all. I'm going to treat today as if it's a day in 1992, back before the consumer internet was widespread, back when you actively had to cruise to a news channel to get to it. But, like, I have all the fucking choice. So if you want to fucking look at Netflix or whatever, you want to, okay, some limited exceptions, like you want to watch some movies, do that, right? You want to play some video games? Okay, sure. But no picking up your phone, just try it. It will genuinely help you out so much. You'll feel so much better. You'll feel literally refreshed the next day. And the world won't seem so bleak. Technically, Phoebes, you're unplugged right now, as am I. I mean, yeah, we technically are, but not in a good way. Dude, I'm gonna have to get off here pretty soon. Any last donations to be made? You guys hit me up with them now, because we're gonna have to get off here soon. Yeah, oh, I wish. I agree. I listened to music tonight and Waiting for the Snow. Thank you. You're so kind. Yeah, of course. Of course. I don't want you to get burned out. I don't want any activist, anyone who is someone who wants to do better and wants humanity to do better. I don't want any of us to get burned out, because when we get burned out is when we end up becoming completely checked out. And we need people fighting now more than ever. We need people fighting. We need people that understand the stakes. We need people that are deeply appreciative of the issues at hand. Can I donate some battery to the phone? God damn, I wish. You got a new sub. Wish I could give $1 in support. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. The law only works if it governs every person. Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree. Giorgio with the 1999. Thank you so much. What a fucking kind soul. Holy shit. Thank you. That is so awesome of you. What a fucking amazing person. If anybody else wants to donate, I'm going to give you guys, we'll smoke the rest of this bowl, which should take us like 5 or 10 more minutes. And if anybody else wants to donate, you guys can. My Cash App is down below in the description if you'd prefer to donate that way. Super chats are also super appreciated. I appreciate it a ton, Giorgio. Thank you so fucking much, dog. No, thank you, dog. For real, for real. My family is considering an exit plan because none of us are emotionally prepared for what's coming in America. I gotta be real with you, Riley. I legitimately am thinking. I keep thinking about that song Skibbereen. Oh, son, you were but 2 years old, and feeble was your frame. I could not leave you with my friends, for you bore your father's name. So I wrapped you in my coat d'amour, and fled the night unseen, and heaved a sigh and waved goodbye to bitter Skibbereen. I just keep thinking about that song, man. I keep thinking about that song. I keep thinking about that song. I keep thinking, am I going to literally have to flee America? Like my Irish ancestors once fled Ireland. I just keep thinking about that song. Am I going to have to literally flee the night like my Irish ancestors once did? Opinion on the Jews? An overly maligned group of mostly benevolent people, some of which are unfortunately tied up in the government of Israel and make the rest of the group look pretty bad by extension, but pretty unfairly, as I don't think that that kind of association is actually fair or righteous. In other words, Jews are cool. Israel sucks, but Jews are cool. Don't talk about it, be about it. Well, the fact that you guys want me to makes me not want to. The fact that you guys are like so eager to have me gone makes me think that maybe it would be better to stay here and fight against you, because I kind of feel it just reminds me of the fact, like, ultimately fascism is an invasive force. You can't really afford to let fascists, Confederates, anything like that exist too openly and with too much official power and capacity, because eventually they start invading other territories. Manhattan Jews are cool. I've never met Manhattan Jews, but I have met the descendants of Manhattan Jews, and they were cool. So, why is it so dark? Because my power is cut. My power is out. It's fucking dead. Whatever happened to the New Yorker Jews who were building the tunnels? Dude, that shit was fucking wild, and then nobody fucking talked about it. Nobody fucking talked about it after that. Dude, a bunch of Jewish people were building tunnels under New York, and nobody fucking talks about it no more. Dude, I looked into it, and apparently it was like a group of kids that were like the New York City equivalent of like Hilltop Youth, kind of, and they're fucking weird, but they were like not doing it with the authorization of the rabbis, but apparently some of the rabbis knew. It's a mess, dude. It's a mess. It's a mess. None of it, I think, justifies all the fucking weird conspiracy theories and shit. There's all kinds of weird religious groups doing all kinds of weird shit all over this country. But that one was a particularly weird example. And the fact that nobody talks about it is kind of stunning to me. I love the 2-year wait times for a specialist in Canada. By the time I see a doctor, they can prescribe me as suicide. Oh, come on, Craig on Jen. Well, to be fair, I have heard Canada's system is one of the worst universal healthcare systems that there is. But I don't know why people act like Canada is the only system that's out there, though. And I don't know why Canadians act like they can't reform their system. All right, y'all's wait times are too fucking high. Okay, start hiring more doctors. What's the fucking deal? Like, do some policy analysis and enact the prescriptions found. Very simple. Sorry, Phoebe. Someone was glazing it in chat. Oh, okay. Jew tunnels? This is news to me. Dude, Riley, go fucking look it up. I know I sound like Nick Fuentes right now, so please go look it up. I'm not kidding. I'm not an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people. But the fucking Jews in New York were building tunnels under the city. Nobody knows exactly why from the research I did. There's no good answers. There's no good explanations, just Jew tunnels. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm going to get banned off of YouTube, but it happened. It happened, dude, and I'm not anti-Semitic at all. Like I said, I love Jewish people. I do not think that they're involved in some kind of global fucking conspiracy bullshit, you know? I think that that's patently false. But it is not patently false that they were building tunnels under Manhattan. What the fuck was up with that? The kids yearned for the tunnels. They just felt like digging. Yeah, I guess so, huh? They just felt like digging, man. They were on their Dwemer vibes. Yeah. They felt the call of the mines. It's not that we want you to leave. It's just that if you can't say I love America, then get the fuck out. I do love America. I hate our president. Yeah, like what the fuck? What are you talking about? If you think any other country would accept you other than Thailand, you are fucking stupid. Okay, what do you think Germany's position on transgender people is? Like, just off the top of your head, without Googling it. What is Germany's position on transgender people? Dig a tunnel. Dig a tunnel. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. I am a Jew and I'm digging a hole. Diggy, diggy hole. Diggy, diggy hole. I am a Jew and I'm digging a hole. I need to fucking get some footage of that, the whole like coverage from that incident, and just like attach it to me doing a cover of that song. But it's just like about the weird like Hasidic tunnels in Manhattan. I should be locked up. Oh boy. You know, if we weren't living in such a fascist state, I would say that absolutely had no weight to it. But it's actually kind of like it's legitimately kind of weird to hear people say shit like that at this point, because it's like maybe I really, like, are you cool with that? So you're cool with people being locked up for their political opinions? That's pretty fucking fascist. That's pretty fucking fascist. I don't believe that, though. I think you're just saying that to get a reaction out of me. I'm just curious, is there more footage? There's tons of footage, but is any of it going to change the facts? No. Is Europe superficial and prejudiced like here in the U.S.? I don't believe it is. I mean, I think it depends. Better than America, probably, yeah. Dude, I keep hearing big old ice falls. And it is so fucking weird and scary. Power out or something? Yeah, it is. I mean, we have had 3 media blackouts in the last year over strange topics. That's a tenet of fascism. We've had 3 media blackouts in the last year over strange topics. Media blackouts. Oh, you're talking about when there's just a complete lack of coverage on a certain thing? Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, no, like, I mean, and that's not like the fucking the Jewish tunnels thing. That's from years ago. Over the last year, there have been a number of media blackouts. Okay, here's a good example of a media blackout. If I think I'm understanding that term correctly, and if I'm using it correctly, here's an example. Did you know that a teenager was found hanged with his legs broken near Jackson, Mississippi last year? Officials labeled it a suicide, but pretty much everyone surrounding the case has begged for more information and more investigation, because how does someone kill themselves with 2 broken legs? Not only that, but black men typically don't hang themselves from trees for reasons that should be fucking obvious to all of us. Dude, I'm legit worried. Let me make sure that like everything is intact still. Let me just like make sure that like the trees are still there. Oh, god damn it. Holy shit, y'all. Holy shit, y'all. Oh my god. I'm gonna be so lucky if there's no fucking roof damage. Oh my god, man. Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god, dude. Oh my fucking god, I'm gonna shit my fucking self. Oh no. Well, that wasn't comforting. That was the opposite of comforting. Well, fuck. Yo, what gone on? What happened? So yes, there's lots of snow, lots of ice, and there's also trees cracking under the weight of the ice, and the ice and snow just continues to fall, and there's more of it forecasted. And there are two very old pecan trees right next to our house. And one of them's been dropping limbs this year like a motherfucker. And they're both at the end of their lifespans. Yeah, my power is out. That's why you guys can't see. Well, I'm gonna have to get off here in a few minutes because my battery's at 28%. I have a battery pack in the house, and we've got the cars outside, which I guess I could. No, I don't want to do that. That's a waste of gas. Just continue streaming, but fuck, man. I'm gonna have to charge up the phone with the battery pack I have inside, and I hope to God that the power comes back on soon. I hope there's no fucking property damage associated with all this freezing and cracking going on. The ice on the trees is a disaster. Be safe. Yeah, I know it is. I bet some of what I've been thinking was gunshots all night. I bet some of that's literally just been trees splitting in two. That's how fucking cold it is and how much ice is on the trees. I bet it's just been branches splitting off and shit like that. Oh my god, dude. Oh, I'm so fucked. Sauron Mamdani did Hitler salute as well. Truly a shame. He did not. I saw that video. He went like this. He went like this. Best live show. You can't see him. Dude, I'm not a him, but I'll take the compliment nonetheless. He did it longer than Elon did. He didn't do a fucking Nazi salute though. Elon hit the chest and then went out like that in a very clear Nazi salute. Mamdani waved to the crowd, rotated his hand a little bit, and then did the cuppy thing that, my power is out. Craig Jen, why are you abusing the fact that my power is out to make a fucking shitty ass, lame ass, stupid fucking argument that I could refute so easily if you could just see my ass? God damn it, Craig Jen. I could refute you, but you can't see me. Like for the house, if it gets cold, the house will shift. Plus, if a rapid drop in temp, the tree's bark will crack due to it contracting and stuff. Yeah, I'm just not used to this kind of cold, dude. Honestly, a lot of times in the Midwest, when it does get super cold and shit like this, it usually gets colder. and what you get is snow instead of this weird freezing rain and shit. Power outage, yep. Which kind of ice? Water ice or police ice? Well, the ice I'm talking about right this second is literal ice, like actual ice, like frozen ice. I know the fact that there's an ice storm and an ice storm in Minneapolis is, it's fucking everybody up. But yeah, he's having NYC students do school virtually on Monday instead of a snow day. That stinks. It stinks for a student, but it's honestly a good thing. Honestly, we should not be. We are too fast and fancy free with kids' education in this country. Honestly. Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, okay. Conceded, but there's an obvious difference. He waved. It shouldn't be so hard for someone to maintain consistent standards, but I'm convinced y'all don't know what standards are. So, I just heard 2 trees fall. I definitely just heard 2 trees fall. Or at the very least, like a branch fall off or something. I don't know, man. I don't know. What else would cause that big sound? Could it be like big sheets of ice falling off the roof or something? Because it sounds literally like trees falling down. God damn it. No ETA on outage, just waiting it out. Yeah, but I'm about to have to get off here because my phone's dying. Yeah, I don't know, man. I have no idea. Contracting trees, maybe. Right? Do I have candles? I do have candles, yes, and our house has gas heat, so we should hopefully be okay there. We've also got a gas grill with a gas burner outside to cook food with, so we'll be okay there. But seriously, like my Cash App is down below, and if anybody's got the spare cash and you want to help out, like there's never been a better time to do it than now. I'm gonna go ahead and get off here, but thank you guys for hanging out with me. Wish me luck, legitimately. Best of luck, Phoebe. Bundle up and stay warm. Well, thank you, Craig Ongen. We'll argue more about Mom Donnie's Nazi salute some other time.